Hello, friends. Welcome to lecture 6. We'll be starting with unit 1, the simple stress and simple strain. Now, this unit carries 15 marks in the in semester examination. Now, in the figure, we see a axially loaded prismatic bar in which we have seen here the pictorial view shows that the load is passing through the axis. Second is the material is homogeneous and isotropic. The material has a uniform deformation of the bar throughout the central region. Now these are the basics that when we say a centroid, we say that the load applied at the centroid is shown in the figure. We have to see that we have seen the stress induced is given by sigma is equal to P by A, where P is the load and A is the cross-sectional area. And if you see the section passing, that all the tensors that are passing through the strings of the puddle, that is the bar, will be uniform throughout the length. Now this slide shows the different types of the stresses. When we say the stresses, it is not usually a circular bar, it may be any surface. So in that we can say that is, we had seen in the first lecture that how the forces are acting on the element, or when we go for the calculating the forces, we have seen the different directions of the forces acting. So in that, if we consider the first surface, in that we have that is the normal force F1. If we consider two surfaces, we say that F1 and F2 are the two forces acting perpendicular to each other. And if we go for the three surfaces, if we consider, we get F1, F2, F3, which are in the three mutually perpendicular directions. So when we go for the six faces, we say that the stress at a point each has the shear stress as well as the tensile stress, which we have seen in the first lecture. So these are the things that we have to consider when we go for that is the study. Again, here we have seen the types of the stresses, that is the tensile stress and the compressive stress, where we have seen the axially loaded bar. If the puddler, that is the arrows are coming out, we say it is a tensile stress. So in that, when we say tensile stress, it gives a tension in the bar and stretches it. Similarly, when we say axially loaded bar with compressive load, in that we say that it compresses. The figure shows the clear pictorial view what is the tensile stress and the compressive stress, which we have seen in the previous lectures. Now this slide shows the shear stress, how the shear forces act on a body, or how the shear forces are developed in a body. So when we take a simple example of a shear force, we see the difference between the axis of the loading. Now in this, the axis is perpendicular to the axis of the component. So it shears the puddle, that is the component, into three parts. In that, when we go for the tensile and the compressive, we have that is the bar will break into two parts. Here it will break into three parts. Similarly, when the external forces act on which is perpendicular to the axis, we see that the shear forces act on the two surfaces which are shown in the figure. Now here also we have seen that the direction of the shear forces are mutually perpendicular to the surface, parallel to the surface, which are in the direct opposite to the direction of the force which is applied. And we have seen here also the shear stress is given by tau, which is equal to P by A, that is nothing but load upon area. This is a slide which shows again the pure shear, where the shear forces act, what is the direction of the shear force that is acting on the surface. And always we have to see that when a shear stress acts on a surface which is, we can say, parallel to the surface, always there will be a complementary shear stress which will be mutually perpendicular to the surface in opposite direction. So shear stress on all the forces, all the four faces are shown in the figure. Now, this is just a simple example to understand the basic concept of the shear force, because this is also an important property of a particular, that is when we say with example of a cube, what are the forces acting on the element, and these are to be studied in detail, and these are in, we can say, that is direction parallel to the force of the axis, where in case of the tensile and compressive, they are along the axis. This is mutually perpendicular to the axis of the component. So that is the difference between the shear stress and the tensile or the compressive stress, which we have already seen. The example for the shear stress in the previous class I had given, that is regarding the rivet. Now this slide shows what are the different type of the forces that are acting on the element, which we can say that is the plates joined by a bolt. And in this the picture clearly shows how the shear stresses are acting. In that case we can say that is the cross section of the plate as well as the bolt is shown, and we can see that the shear stress in the bolt or the shear stress in the plate, depending on the weaker, we can say that it will shear. Now in this we have to be careful when we are calculating tau is equal to P by A. A is the area, which is nothing but the projected area. What is the thickness of the plate, that will be the, we can say, the length, or 2 times T into the diameter of the bar, that will be the area for the shear failure. Now in this one we have seen that is when we see the shear stress, we can say that is the bearing area is again shown, that is nothing but the, whatever I told, that is diameter of the bar into twice the thickness of the plate, or whatever the thickness of or length, the width of the plate will be there, that can be considered for the area. So that is called the bearing area in this case. Whereas in the tensile stress and the compressive stress, the cross sectional area we are considering, which is pi by 4 d square. One more thing that we have to see, what are the practical applications of the particular, that is the tensile force, shear force, the compressive force. Now here we can say, in case of a pulley and a belt or a cable, we can say, in that case all the three, that is the forces, are acting here. We can say when a cable or the belt, we can say it is in tension, whereas the shaft is in torsion, and there is a shear stress on the key. So that is a mechanism where we have to see that where the failure of the component will take place. So depending on the properties of the material, we have to decide which component should fail to avoid the total damage to the component. So this is just simple example of a pulley where it is given in detail, that is the construction of the mounting of a pulley on a shaft, and what is the effect of the failure. In that case, usually key is always a weaker material which will be under shear failure. So that is just an example that everyone should understand when we go for, that is the study of the few more examples we will see. Now this is an example of a tie rod. What is the application of a tie rod? We can say it is used, many applications are there. You might have seen the construction of a particular, that is a brake, when it is attached to the bicycle or a two-wheeler. In that we get the pin, and the, we can say, the rod 2 is nothing but a cable, whereas it is held in a particular, that is with the help of a pin in a particular fixture, that is, we can say, made of rod 1. So that is a simple construction. Here we can see where the failure will occur, And this is nothing but again the example for a shear failure, or we can say the shear stress that is acting on the pin can be calculated by the length of the pin, or we can say that is the area on which particular that is the shear stress will be acting on the element. So just an example. So always you have to be careful when we go for that is deciding the particular that is the component, which type of failure will occur in the component, that we have to decide with the help of a particular application that we will study in detail. Now this is a simple example of a turnbuckle. What is a turnbuckle and where it is used? Everyone should know. That is usually when we go for the tensors, when we erect a particular pole, maybe a electricity pole or a pole which is vertical, and we have the stay wires. Now to maintain the, or even in the boilers we go for the stay wires. So in this, to maintain the particular tension in the stay wires, we use the turnbuckle. Here also the type of the particular that is the failure, in that case we can say will be either in the rope or the wires that will be under stress due to the load that is acting. So this is just an example for the turnbuckle. There are many practical examples, and we have to see that we should know whenever we go for a particular application what type of force is acting, because in this case we can say that the two wires will be under tension, and when we turn the buckle we will see that they will be in tension. There will be tension, it will be increasing, and we are adjusting the length or the failure of the particular component. So these are the applications, in practical applications, which we will be seeing in day-to-day application. Now this slide shows the strain. Now in that case, just for example, we have taken that is a deformation of a body can be described in two ways, that is the linear strain and the shear strain. So in linear strain, what happens in that case? It is the change that is occurring. We have seen before deformation and after deformation. The change in length of the segment will be, that is the, which we have seen, that is length AB is increasing in case of the strain. Similarly, when we go for shear strain, what is the change in that case? We see whatever the square that is drawn on the figure, when it is under loading, we say it turns into a rhombus. So that is an example. We'll see again in detail when we go for the next slide that what are the changes that are occurring in the element. When we consider the linear strain, in that case the length AB has changed to, we can say, A dash B dash. So that is the change in length, that is when we are seeing before deformation and after deformation. So what is strain? Strain is nothing but change in length divided by the original length. Maybe increase in length or decrease in length divided by the original length. So lateral strain, I told you, is denoted by epsilon or small e, which is equal to delta L by L, where delta L is the change in length and L is the original length of AB. So this is just a simple example for the lateral strain. We will see what is the next slide. This slide shows the shear strain. First was the linear strain, now is the shear strain. What is the change in this? We have seen that what is the change in this case shear strain? In that it was the change in length. Here we are saying it is change in the deformation d delta by L, which is already shown, that is the shear angle has changed. In that case the square has turned into a rhombus. So that is a slight shift in the axis. So that is nothing but the angular displacement that is taking place in case of the shear strain. This slide shows the strain at a point. A body is subdivided into smaller elements, because we have to see when we go for any mechanical component, always it is made up of small elements, and we have to see that is being studied in detail when we go for that is the what changes occur in the element, which is again before deformation and after deformation, what changes are occurring in the element. So we can say that is the linear strain, that is change in length, whereas the shear stress is change in the angles. We'll see with the help of the slide in the next figure. Here the linear strain is shown, that is change in, that is the 3 directions is shown. Here purposefully to understand the basic concept we are seeing, that is the in the 3 dimensions. Usually when we go for the stresses, it is limited to 1 dimensional or 2 dimensional for the solving of the numericals. Same is the case of the strain, we go in 1 direction or 2 direction or the 3 directions. Now in that case, this deformation will be in epsilon x in x direction, epsilon y in y direction, and epsilon z in the z direction. Mutually 3 perpendicular directions are the directions where the changes will occur in the element. Now this shows the particular, that is the shear strain, that is in all the 3 directions for a particular element, that is phi xy, phi x, phi yz and phi xz. These are the 3 mutually perpendicular, where the twist in the particular, that is the 3 directions, is shown for the just the understanding of the concept for what is the shear strain that is occurring in the element. These are the basic things that we have seen in the slide. Now we have to go for the strength of the testing of the material, that is strength of the material, or what changes occur in the solid when a component is subjected to different forces. Now in this case we are considering the particular, that is by experimental analysis we have to go for the, it may be a tensile test or a compression test, which is usually done on the UTM, that is the universal testing machine. Now these are the computerized test tricks. Previously we had the manual, that is hydraulic oil was used, which by starting the motor we used to get. Now everything is computerized, we can get directly the stress strain plot, which is shown in the particular figure directly. Here what we are doing in this case is we have a standard specimen. Now in this, the shape of the specimen is, we have shown that is a 2 ends are screwed and it is fixed in the particular, that is the UTM. But as per the standard norms, depending on the jaw that is used for holding the particular bar which is going to be tested, the testing will be, the dimensions of the component will be fixed. There are standards again we have to follow for every, that is test that we are performing. It gives the relation between the average normal load, what is the deflection that is occurring in the element, that we have to test on the UTM. The testing machine stretches the specimen at a very slow and a constant rate until the failure occurs. Now this is called the gradually applied load, and based on that we have to plot the graph for the particular, that is we can go for the digital readings recording, or we can directly get the graph and see what are the readings at what point, what are the different stresses that are occurring in the element. Now this is the specimen details. Now in that we have to see, that is, I told you in that case usually the threaded joint here, the threaded, that is portion that is shown here, is for the gripping of the component, that it should not slip. Similarly, when we go for the different machines, we have got a dumbbell shape, same specimen with a dumbbell shape, so that whatever the failure will be occurring will be the 2 points that are being marked. Why these 2 points are being marked? Because that is a area where we can say that is the failure occur in between the two. Why the failure occur in that case? Because the area at the 2 ends is more, and at the center we can say it is less in the particular, that is the application for the any specimen that we apply. What are these 2 dots that are shown, that is the punch marks are shown? This is nothing but the gauge length. What is gauge length? This is the length over which we are going to check what is the change in the dimension of the component. Not whatever the force that is being applied at the threaded portion will be uniform throughout the length. So what is the extension will be uniform throughout the length of the bar. but we are considering only the gauge length for the testing of the material in the application. So we have to see that these are the standard procedures that we have to follow when we go for the testing, and you will be conducting the practicals in you, that is the strength of materials lab for the different components. Now this figure shows that is the general, that is a testing machine, the UTM, which is, we can say that is a very old type. Now we have got the computerized testing. Here we have seen that is a fixed jaw, the specimen, movable jaw, two, that is the pillars are fixed, two pillar, the two, that is the rods are guiding the puddler, that is the movable jaw. And in this we have seen the motor and the hydraulic system, which is applying the load gradually, and the load versus deformation meter is showing what are the forces, or what is the force that we are indicating. That is called the tensile testing of the machine that we are going for the construction. Now if you see the figure here in this slide, we see that is the next portion, the tensile testing of the steel, that shows that is the bar has broken into two pieces, and even the load deformation meter is showing some reading, that is where the failure has occurred of the component in the practical that we are conducting. Now in the next lecture we will see what changes occur and what is the graph that we are plotting for the puddler, that with the stress strain graph which we are plotting with the help of the, or what are the changes that are occurring in the material when the load is gradually increased from 0 to the failure load. So that we will be seeing what are the different changes that will be occurring with the help of the stress strain graph. Thank you. Now in the next lecture we will see what changes occur and what is the graph that we are plotting for the puddler, that with the stress strain graph which we are plotting with the help of the, or what are the changes that are occurring in the material when the load is gradually increased from 0 to the failure load. So that we will be seeing what are the different changes that will be occurring with the help of the stress strain graph. Thank you.